Did you know that every year between 10 to 15,000 people migrate from the UK to Australia, but many return? We are going to reveal reasons why people leave and share our top tips to help you not only stay but thrive happily in Australia. We will tell you later the surprising percentages of those who go back before 5 to 10 years. You won't believe it! One of the first few things we learned that although holding on to comparisons between Australia and the UK is natural and is just human nature, it can also hold you back and make you feel unhappy. People can sometimes fall into the habit of comparing everything, from the weather, food, roads, TV, just to name a few. We did just that at first too, until we got familiar with everything.
But once you stop focusing on what you think is missing, you can start appreciating the unique things that Australia really has to offer.
Absolutely, like the awesome weather, beaches, the friendly people, and the laid-back alfresco lifestyle. Once we stopped wanting everything to be like the UK and embraced Australia for what it was, life became so much easier. So we just let go, relaxed, and stopped comparing.
But I am still a passionate England rugby supporter and enjoy a good banter with our Australian friends. They love sport and will not hold it against you, whoever you support. But be prepared for some good-natured ribbing, particularly as Australia does tend to win most of the time. One of the main reasons we moved to Australia was for the warmer climate. Personally, we love it. But it's not for everyone, and it's definitely a big adjustment.
We have friends from the UK who really struggle with the heat, especially in summer. They actually look forward to the cooler months and dread the high temperatures. A lot of people miss the distinct change in the season. Spring buds, perfect summers, autumn leaves and snow. One notable difference is Christmas time. If you're used to rugging up in jumpers, sipping mulled wine and cozying up by the log fire, a Christmas barbecue on the beach with 30 degrees heat might feel a bit disorientating. Even to this day, I can't get my head around singing traditional Christmas carols in 30 degrees of heat. It's definitely an adjustment, but honestly, I don't miss those cold Scottish winters. If heat isn't for you, places like Melbourne, Tasmania or Adelaide have a more temperate climate and feel a bit more like home. We love the Sydney climate, but if you want it warmer still, consider Brisbane, which has Byron Bay, the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast on its doorstep. We have friends from the UK who migrated out a year after us, and they chose Brisbane to settle as they just love it there. If you are looking for a tropical climate, there is Darwin or Cairns, but factors like finding work has a huge influence on where you can live.
Another big adjustment is transport. In the UK, especially in London, you can get pretty much anywhere by public transport. And that is the same for the major cities here too, as the infrastructure is good. But further afield, you really do need a car.
If you're holding onto your UK's driver's licence, you'll eventually need to pass an Australian driving test. But the great thing is driving is on the same side, so no adjustment there. Our speed limits are in kilometres, so we do drive a wee bit slower, which is a good thing. One thing to remember, Australia is a massive country, so the distances between major cities is deceptive, and our road infrastructure isn't great outside the metropolitan areas. Our motorway service stations are few and far between, so maybe consider flying for those long distance trips, as it will be a shorter, happier journey.
One thing we have noticed is that while Australians are incredibly friendly, they won't invade your space unless you invite them in. So if you want to make friends, you need to put yourself out there.
When we first moved into our rental, we knocked on our neighbour's door to ask them if they would look after our things while we signed our rental lease agreement. That introduction led to an amazing long-term friendship with a lovely couple and really helped us settle, for which we will be forever grateful. So don't be afraid to make the first move. Introduce yourself to your neighbours, join local groups, or even get involved in sports or volunteering. It's the best way to meet people. We've met a lot of people doing the things we enjoy, like Scottish dancing and walking our doggies. Mary and Harris have initiated some great friendship as people stop and talk to us asking about their names and breed, and also because they are just so adorable. We can't stress enough how important it is to get involved. Our lives have been so enriched by the friends we have made, and they have opened up new experiences to us.
Let's talk property prices, especially in Sydney. That was a shock to us, as we'd come from the northeast of England as new migrants and had sold both of our flats at a loss.
Yes, many people fall in love with areas like Bondi, Coogee, and all the beachy suburbs, as often they go there first on holiday or as backpackers, but these are some of the most expensive places in Sydney. We quickly realised that we needed to look further afield if we wanted to get on the property ladder. We ended up buying in the northern suburbs, about 25 kilometres from the city centre. It was a longer commute, about an hour from home, but we found an affordable home in beautiful bushland. It wasn't close to my beloved beach, but at least it was a home we could call our own. So if you're thinking of settling in Australia long term, be realistic about where you can afford to live. Maybe consider renting in an area first to see if you really like it before committing to buying.
Work is a huge part of settling into a new country. The excitement of moving soon becomes a distant memory when the reality of going to work each day hits. For me, this was a huge concern because I just loved my job in the UK.
Lewis was a design engineer at Black & Decker DeWalt, working on cordless drills in the UK, and he travelled to Europe and the US on work trips. Finding a job he enjoyed in Australia was a big concern for him, but he needn't have worried. He has worked at some incredible, innovative, creative companies here, like ResMed and Breville, and travelled frequently to Hong Kong and China, which has been so interesting. For me, I studied Australian migration law, and when I passed my exams, I practiced as a migration consultant for 10 years. It was so rewarding as it allowed me to help other migrants navigate the complexities of moving to Australia, having been through the process ourselves. I gave it up to work part-time for a distributor of French beauty products, which was only a short distance from home. Of course, not everyone's work experience will be perfect. We've known people who struggled to find satisfying work here and ended up returning to the UK because of it. So it's really important to research job opportunities before making the move. Many people start their own businesses, and the opportunity now for remote working has opened up endless possibilities. Lewis did some engineering work for Black & Decker in the UK from home, and now he really likes making these videos, which we hope you enjoy. So please subscribe to help us bring you more videos of life in Australia.
One of the hardest parts of migrating is being so far away from loved ones, family and friends. Everyone is different and close family ties are hard to break. But for Bonnie and I, as we were living away from our families in the UK anyway, made it slightly easier for us to leave.
Technology, cheap video calls, and social media have been lifesavers, but it's tough when family members get sick and you can't always afford the time or the cost to fly back. That's a hard one and something you need to be prepared for. We have stayed in touch with all our UK friends and have met up with them several times. They have flown out to Oz too, so it's been wonderful as we have our Aussie friends here as well. But one of the most common reasons people don't stay in Australia is they just can't bear being halfway around the world from their loved ones.
One of the best decisions we made was to get our Australian citizenship as soon as we were eligible. After 2 years, we had dual UK and Australian passports, which gives the flexibility to live in either country without worrying about visas.
We know people who didn't get a citizenship and now regret it, especially when they wanted to return to Australia again after going back to the UK. It is a personal choice, but it's something to think about.
For us, when we moved to Australia, we chose to fully commit and embrace all the great things the country has to offer. We've seen people yo-yo between the UK and Australia, which is both expensive and stressful. There's even a name for them: boomerang migrants.
But Australia is not for everyone, and there is no point toughing it out and being unhappy if life in Oz is just not for you. I have come to realise, and this may sound cliche, that happiness comes from within. I just have to look at my doggies and I feel so much love. I get enjoyment from a simple walk on the beach or sitting in our peaceful surroundings listening to the birdies. This is my inward joy that makes me very happy. The percentage of UK migrants who return before 5 years is about 20 to 25% and up to 40% by the 10-year mark. We were really surprised as we would never consider returning. But what you do at the start of your migration journey has a huge impact on your long-term stability and happiness. To avoid the mistakes that we made, watch this video here. We love sharing our experiences with you, and we hope you enjoy watching our channel. Thank you to everyone who has left us comments, given us a thumbs up and subscribed. Thank you for watching. Lewis and Bonnie's Australia.